Good morning, students. I hope you are doing well with your studies in these lockdown period. I am Mr. Satish Changonda. Today, start with the Module 4 in the Total Quality Management subject. Module 4 is Continuous Process Improvement and Statistical Process Control. First, let us see continuous process improvement in the first two sessions. Later, we will go for statistical process control. So, coming to the continuous process improvement, let us see the definition of continuous process improvement. Later, we will see why it is needed, and especially in today's world, it has become must. Continuous process improvement. It's a philosophy of operations that's built around the concept that there are always ways in which a process can be improved to better meet the needs of the customer, and that an organization should constantly strive to make those improvements. So, in this definition, we can point out that there is always scope for improvement because no process or nothing is perfect in this world. So always there is a scope for improvement. So we have to see where we can improve in that process and why we have to improve. Basically, we are serving the customer and we have to meet the needs of the customer or the organization and constantly strive to make those improvements. That's the word used continuous. Only improvement one time or two time is not enough. Continuously we have to improve the system or the process. One more simple definition: it is an act of implementing improvements to a product, service or process. These changes can either be incremental or breakthrough. So again, it is an improvement of a product or service or process, and the improvement may be incremental. That means stage by stage or breakthrough, or at a time we can improve the whole system or the process, or incremental, that means one by one also we can improve. So there are two chances or scope for improvement: incremental and breakthrough. So, contents what we are going to discuss today. First, we will start again with the process because it's continuous process improvement. First, we have to know what's process. Then we will know how it can be continuously improved. So, once again, contents, process. Second one, Geron trilogy. Third one, improvement strategies. Fourth one, types of problems. Fifth one, PDSA cycle. Sixth, problem solving methods. So today's discussions I have kept here. Going for the process. So what is the process? It is a set of related tasks or activities by which work is accomplished. So its process is not a one time thing. It's a set of activities. Or one more small definition I have given here in process approach, you can see it is a series of actions which are carried out in order to achieve a particular result. So it is a series of actions. They are carried out in order to achieve particular result. So it is a number of tasks. We have to achieve something, or we have to get one result. So that we are doing several tasks or going through several actions. So all these linkages of tasks or actions for to accomplish something is called a process. Then, why continuous improvement process? Why it has to be improved? Process has to be improved, and that also continuously. So, in today's globalized world, it has become the question of survival. To be competitive in this global market, any product or service has to be rendered globally competitive. So it's a question of survival initially. Earlier, it was only to get the acquire the more market, but to survive also nowadays it has become a continuous improvement process. So it's a question of survival, that so we have to continuously improve the process. Next, continuous improvement process. So simple diagram of continuous improvement. You know the system where inputs and outputs are there. Inputs are materials or information or data or people or money. These are the inputs for any organization. So in that it goes, all these inputs will be gone through some process. The process may be, it differs from organization. If it is a manufacturing unit, if it is a service unit, it depends on the type of the organization, but it has to undergo some process. Here you can see work methods. Then it may be procedures, tools, production. So if these are examples, if it is a production process, what are the operations, cutting, welding, etc., it's given. For bank, what are the process in the bank they we are going to see, deposit or withdrawal process, right? Similarly, take an example, simple one. If you go for an ATM, what are the processes that machine will do? First, you will insert the card, your ATM debit card inside the machine. Then later, it will show some options like withdraw cash or see the balance information. After that, just to withdraw your money, you have to undergo some process, like you have to give the details, like your you have to enter the password. Later, after it asks about how much amount of money you have to withdraw. So how it goes is, it's a process inside the ATM machine. So any thing or a task or the it has to go under some process. Finally, what is the output? You will get the cash in the ATM. Similarly, input, then it has to be processed. Output, whatever your desired results, you will get in the outputs. So outputs may be products, delivered service, in process jobs or forms, and so small jobs also you may get as the output, and maybe others. So just it's a diagrammatically shown where the position of the process is in the system. So process is in between the input and output. Next, anyway, it's a business environment, this product or process improvement. So what are the ways to improve the business? Ultimately, business is also a process. So what are the ways to improve this business? So there are 5 ways it's given. Minimize consumption of resources. So we need to understand the importance of resources to sustain in the market today. Resources are getting depleted day by day. Hence, it's important that all form of resources must be used in most effective manner. So make minimize the consumption of the resources. Next, second is reduce errors. So why errors should be reduced? Again, it's a form of improvement. Variation in the process causes errors. It's important to work towards eliminating common causes of errors and minimize spatial causes. So common causes of errors may be related to machine, what we call 4Ms, like men, machine, material, and measurement, etc., which are under human control. So we can control this. So reduce those errors which are caused by human beings. Third one, meet or exceed the expectations of customers. Customers are the central point, or we can call them a nucleus of today's business. Anything, ultimately we are doing it for the customers. So you try to make or exceed the expectation of the customer. Those days are gone. Customers were dependent completely on manufacturers for the products. Now manufacturers stand in queue to attract customers. We need to delight those customers by exceeding their expectations. That means we have to work in such a way that we have to not only meeting the expectations of the customers, we have to meet their expectations of those customers. Fourth point, make the process safer. Ultimately, the process where the process is going, you make it safer so that the worker also enjoys and feel proud of the his working environment. This can be achieved by implementing the safety measures and educate the worker, and you make awareness of the safety measures. So this will reduce the accident at the workplace and make the process run smoothly. Last one more way, that is make the process more satisfying to the person doing it. Who is doing it, he should feel pride. I am working in such an environment. So if the person does not get satisfied the work, even after thriving for a whole day or months, his efficiency comes down. So ultimately, this results in errors. We may do some mistakes while doing operations. So take care of the workman working in that area. So next point is, that is second point, Geron trilogy. Joseph Geron was a pioneer. That means he was a leader in the study of quality control. To attain quality, it must begin with establishing the vision, policies, and goals of the organization. Converting these goals into results is done through three managerial process. That's called a Geron trilogy. So ultimately, quality can be done with planning, control, and improvement. So what Joseph Geron says is that quality can be achieved with three phases. That is, it must be planned. Quality, you cannot get directly the quality. Initially it has to plan. So you in management also, initial first step is to make plan. Similarly, we have to manage the quality here. So quality planning. So planning is the first step in quality improvement or continuous improvement process. So there are three stages or phases you have to pass to attain the quality. That is quality planning, quality control, and quality improvement. Geron was one of the first person to identify the problems associated with the cost of poor quality. So what is the cost of poor quality? That means if you do not improve or if you do not maintain the quality, it will cost heavily to the system or the process. So for continuous process improvement, quality must pass into three phases. That is quality planning, quality control, and quality improvement. So let us see these one by one. First one, quality planning. Quality does not happen by accident, it must be planned. Earlier I said quality planning. What is quality planning? The structured process for designing products and services that meet new breakthrough goals and ensure that customer needs are met. So it is the first step in controlling the cost of poor quality. In this stage, it is required to define your customers and identify their needs. Or we need to get in touch with our voice of the customers. So finally, it helps to mold our processes to produce the product or services as per the requirement of the customer. In addition to customer, all other stakeholders such as workforce, your suppliers, should also represent in this process. A multidisciplinary approach should be followed to include all factors and all stakeholders while planning. So you are planning, that's okay, but it doesn't mean you alone, one or two persons sit and plan. You have to take the feedback or the suggestions from initially customers, they are must. After that, again, who are all the stakeholders in your business or in that process, you take the suggestions from them also in the planning. So In this way it has to be planned. Steps in quality planning. How you have to plan? Again, consider that planning as a project. So establish the project. What you are going to plan? Huh? What for what you have to plan? First, establish the project. It's also a project. So establish your project first. Then identify the customers. Who are your customers? Identify them. Discover the customer needs. First, find out what are their needs. Develop the product according to the customer needs. Develop the process. And finally, develop the controls and transfer it to operations. So, in the planning process, these steps have to be followed. Second thing in the Geron's trilogy is quality control. Again, it's a coming to the definition of quality control. It's a universal managerial process for conducting operations so as to provide stability to prevent adverse changes and to maintain the status quo. Or one more definition, a process for meeting established goals by evaluating and comparing actual performance and planned performance and taking action on the difference. The quality control process. Okay. Once you establish, want to start the operations, almost it started. But in the you have to once it has reached some stage, it has to be maintained. That is called quality control. Once it started, whether you have to see whether it is in a control manner or not. A simple example in metrology lab or mechanical measurements and metrology you might have studied. So there are some standard operations or standard pressure or temperature have to be maintained. So you will put those pressure gauge or temperature instruments. So in between you have to see whether they are working according to the standards or not. So this is called quality control. If there is more pressure, you try to reduce that. If there is less pressure, you try to input or feed more pressure. So in this way, it has to be controlled. Ultimately, there are certain standards. You have to maintain those standards. That process is called quality control. Attaining the quality is a big thing, but maintaining the quality, that is called quality control. So, quality control, how it can be controlled, there are some 6 steps have been mentioned. Please go through that. Choose control subject, establish measurement. Ultimately, measurement. Establish standards for performance, measure actual performance, compare it to the standards, take action on the difference. So, finally, it should be in a controlled manner. Third step is quality improvement. The process for creating breakthrough levels of performance by eliminating wastes and defects to reduce the cost of poor quality. All improvement takes place project by project. Prove the need for improvement, identify the improvement projects, establish project improvement teams. I have taken an example of project here because most this total quality management and continuous improvement process, all this is applicable majorly in project works. Once we move to new quality control zone, it is very important to sustain that gain over a long period. This requires quality breakthroughs to achieve new highs. We need to establish the required infrastructure, provide the necessary resources, training and education, proper diagnosis of the causes and appropriate control measures to secure quality breakthroughs. So, we need to identify specific needs for improvement. Improvement, what are improvement strategies? We will go through in the next slides. So this is a diagram of Geron trilogy. You can see the x and y axis we can put as time and cost of quality. You can see between 20 to 40% that is going for the cost of poor quality. 20% to 40% it is wasting because of the poor quality. So first already you have planned. Then in the second phase you can see quality control, that is when you have planned, you started the operations, so it entered into uh, quality control and later quality improvement phases. So once operation started, it has you have to maintain the quality control. You can see chronic waste and there is a sporadic, that is a exponential rise in the defects. So that has to be controlled. See, after the once you control it, bring it back, and because of this, you see in the last phase, that is a new zone of quality control. So there is a very least amount of cost is going for the quality control. Initially it is high, and if it's rising for the sporadic spike, that is the highest also, but bring it at control. By bringing quality control, you will get a new zone of quality control, which is a very least and minimum cost of quality. So improvement studies, how we can improve this quality during the operations. So there may be in the operations some thing happens, and we have to fix those. So first one is repair broken to working conditions. That is, if some improvement, some equipment or machine or machine parts are broken, and fix them, and that is repair them. Repair indicates the process of moving from a state of broken to working. This could be done at two levels. It is a short term or a long term. So just repair it. Whichever part is not working, make it to work. Second one is refinement. Normally, if it's broken, we will fix it or repair it. But however, certain activities need not be broken, but still will see fallback in terms of efficiency and effectiveness. We want more efficient work or effectiveness work. In this time, go for refinement. That's why in oil packets also you can see refined oil. See, we want oil only, but again they will now every customer wants refined oil, right? So earlier they were supplying the oil, but it is doubled filtered, three times filtered. So this filtering process is called refinement. So this is one strategy for the improvement. One more strategy is renovation. In which situation we have to go for renovation? Already our product is good, or one any product or service is good, but still it's not completely acceptable, or expectations of the customers are becoming high. So in this situation we have to go for renovation. It is achieved through innovation. So make some different in the same product, only you add something. That's why you may see the products for plain to colored, from colored to now you get to different flavored. So this flavor, it is an innovation thing. So add innovation to your product or service, that's called renovation. So again it is an improvement strategy. One more is reinvention. This strategy is the last resort for companies to sustain in the global competition. If the company fails to sustain even after innovation, it applies reinvention. This strategy is applied when the company realizes that current products and services are not sufficient to satisfy the customer. So in order to maintain the competitive advantage and sustain the importance, organizations apply this strategy. So it's like a research and development. Whatever you are doing, repair, refinement, renovation will not work here. You have to research, that is dig deep into the process and develop the system. So four main strategies, improvement strategies mentioned here. Next topic is types of problems. What type of problems the organizations may face in the process improvement. So those can be classified in 4 ways: compliance, unstructured, efficiency, and process design, product design. Sorry, 5 types. That is the 4th topic, and there are 5 types of problems. So, compliance. This is a condition that occurs when a system, through structured with proper inputs, process, and outputs, is seen unacceptable. That is, already system is there, structured system is there, but even though structured inputs or outputs you are getting, but it is unacceptable by customer. The reason we don't know why he is unaccepting. The customers are unaccepting. So this type of problem we called compliance. Again, for these type of problems, improvement strategies are mentioned above. Unstructured. So this is a immature system. This problem is similar to compliance, but it is not specified by standards, or we can say an immature system using unstructured inputs, process, and outputs produces a product. Customers will obviously reject it. In order to fix such problem, companies need to conduct a customer survey. Go for customer survey. This will eliminate the problem of poor performance of the company. Third one, efficiency. So it may be a problem of efficiency. So strategy already we discussed efficiency strategy in the improvement strategies. So ultimately we want the system to be more efficient. Fourth is process design. Fourth problem. Current processes used may not be sufficient to cater to the needs of the customer. Then company needs to revise the existing process or design and develop new processes to meet the expectations of the customer. Last one, that is product design. The choice of the customer about a product is unpredictable. See, even though your product is good, very good, but the customer's choice is different. We don't know how he behaves tomorrow. Suddenly he wants something. So again, you design your product according to the customers. Even though earlier your products are good, but you design, especially this we have to use research and development or reinvention strategies in these type of problems. Next topic is PDSA. That is, it is a cycle for learning and improvement. That is, plan, do, study, and act. PDSA cycle. So plan. Again, it's an improvement process. It can be done by PDSA cycle. Applying the PDSA cycle. So PDSA stands for plan, do, study, and act. So in the planning phase, again, you need to define what are your objectives and write down the questions and predictions. You collect all the details: who, when, how, where. Then second is operations. That is, do, carry out the plan, document the problems in carrying out the plan, and start analyzing the data. After this, study. So study means again compare the analyzed data. And the fourth one is act. So shall we start implementing or try something else, or we may go for the next cycle. So this is a PDSA cycle, is a cycle for improvement. This is a one concept. You can adopt this method also. Next, in PDSA cycle only, PDSA cycle, actually this was proposed by Walter Shewhart. Walter Shewhart proposed plan, do, study, act, or PDSA cycle for continuous improvement. He says that 7 phases of continuous process improvement have to be passed. They are: identify problems as an opportunity. Second, analyze the problem. Third, develop optimal and cost-effective solutions. Fourth, implement changes. Fifth, study the results. Sixth, standardize solution. Then 7, plan for the future. So first one, identify the opportunity. Identify problems as an opportunity. In this phase, opportunities for improvement are identified and prioritized. Key activities in this phase are form a team to study the problem and define the scope of the problem. That helps in prioritizing. Second one is analyzing the current process or analyzing the current problem. Analyze the problem. Problems associated with processes identified in the previous phase are analyzed. The current process is thoroughly studied to understand its performance. In this phase, a gap analysis is conducted to understand the loopholes of the current processes by defining process boundaries, understanding customers' requirements, inputs and outputs of the process. Third one, develop optimal and cost effective solutions. Here, taking the results of the previous phase, an optimal solution is developed. Further, the root causes of the problems are identified. Some brainstorming can also be done here. Fourth phase is implement changes. So this comes under do. First three phases come under planning only. So implement. It involves implementation of the solution developed in the previous phase. Then study the results. So this comes under study phase of the PDSA cycle. The implemented solution is studied through the collection of relevant data. The data is reviewed through periodic meetings and evaluation. So we need to be honest in this phase because any deviations will give again errors. Sixth one, standardize the solution. So ultimately, standardization has to come. More the number of trials can be repeated in this phase. Plans can be revised. Proper education and training must be initiated. So all this can be done to standardize the solution. Last phase is plan for the future. Improvement must be made a regular habit. Just whenever the problem comes, then go and fix it. Doesn't. It should become a regular habit. Even if the solution yields improvement, the activities should lead to continuous improvement of the process. There should be no end to the cycle of improvement. So that's why it's called cycle. So even after acting, it's not important. Again, take some feedback, learn in every phase. So this is about the PDSA cycle. And how these problems can be tackled or problem solving methods. You might have studied in the management subject also this. So 5 steps should be followed in solving the problem. So define the problem, analyze the cause, develop the plan, implement and monitor the plan, evaluate the plan. So define the problem. Any problem must be completely understood before suggesting any solutions to it. A wrongly interpreted problem may lead to missed opportunities, unnecessary costs, increased wastages, and continuous stress at work. So proper definition of the problem will result in an innovative and long-term solutions. So problems should be well defined. Second is analyze the cause. After defining a problem clearly, we need to analyze the cause. Here we have to do why analyze, why it happened, why. Only the question why should arise here. It involves series of questions beginning with why, and finally we will get the root cause of the problem is reached. So you may get help of other analysis purpose, you may get other analysis tools also. Third one is develop the plan. Once the root cause of the problem is found, alternate plans to solve the problem are developed. While developing plans, all possible constraint factors like time, cost, risk, maintenance, efficiency, effectiveness, all these must be considered to whenever you start developing the plan. Fourth, implement and monitor the plan. Once the optimal plan is selected, it's time for implementation of continuous monitoring of the plan. We need to remember many hurdles may occur during implementation. Even after careful analysis of the plan, the plan implementation may take more time. It may even result in unexpected consequence. It may also become unaffordable. Thus, plan must be properly monitored after implementing it. So last method is evaluate. Evaluate. So it is a last step in any problem solving method. This is the last step in the problem solving method. After implementing the plan successfully, it has to be evaluated. In spite of your best efforts, some solutions do not work as planned. A feedback must be obtained from all stakeholders to evaluate the success of the plan. During evaluation, a result starts coming and we need to measure it against the anticipated values. In case of gap, the problem solving method is repeated till the expected results are achieved. So this ends with today's session. I thank all the students who have attended this session, and please go through the notes given in module 4 notes to answer the today's quiz, and please all of you answer for today's quiz. First, better read the module 4 in the given notes, then try to answer in the quiz. Any questions can be discussed. I and Rahul sir will be there for helping you. Thank you.